The Galactic Concord was the largest group of alien civilizations in the galaxy. It had over 300 member species. Most of them were peaceful, intelligent, and proud of their great technology. They shared knowledge, helped each other, and kept order across the stars. When the Concord found a signal from a small blue planet called Earth, many didn't pay attention. It came from the edge of a spiral arm in the Milky Way. The planet had only one moon. It looked green, wet, and full of life. The signal was simple, a repeating pattern of numbers and sounds. "Nothing dangerous. They're just starting to discover faster-than-light travel," said Scholar Vren Tal, a tall, soft-spoken being from the Nalari race. "Primitive species, not a threat." Captain Veshator, a Varelian commander, had a different view. His species believed in early control. "Let's make contact now," he said, "before they learn too much, before they get ideas." The Concord approved a scouting mission, just a visit, quiet and peaceful. Veshator's ship, the Corral's Eye, traveled to Earth using a silent jump gate. They entered orbit unseen and chose a landing site far from cities, in the open land of northern Canada. Their ship landed smoothly. The humans didn't detect them right away. Veshator stepped out with his team. They wore shining armor and carried scan tools. Their bodies were strong and insect-like, with hard shells and glowing eyes. They expected fear, but fear did not come. Instead, a human drone flew overhead in minutes, then another. Then came a strange humming sound. A team of humans in heavy suits appeared, riding small tracked vehicles. They surrounded the ship from a distance. The aliens scanned the humans, simple creatures. 2 arms, 2 legs, no claws, no armor, soft skin, eyes on the front of the face, like predators, but small ones. They "Look weak," said one Varelian scout. "Like prey." The humans didn't attack. They set up a device that blinked and beeped. It started repeating the same signal the aliens had sent months ago. They understood it, Veshator said slowly. "Already?" Another hour passed. Then came a surprise. The humans brought a portable screen. A face appeared, an older human woman in a uniform. Her voice came through a translator device. "This is Commander Elena Ruiz of Earth United Nations. Who are you, and what is your purpose here?" Veshator laughed. "They already made a translator? In 1 hour?" "No," said a Nalari, technician. "They must have prepared for this. They were ready." The Concord team shared glances. That wasn't normal. Veshator stepped forward. "We are peaceful explorers," he said into the translator. "We come from the Galactic, Concord. We wish to study your species." Elena Ruiz looked calm. "Understood. But you entered our world without permission. That makes people nervous. We would like to invite you to a proper meeting, with safety for both sides." Veshator agreed. He thought it would be easy. That night, something strange happened. 2 of the Concord scout drones went missing, then 3, then all of them. The humans said nothing, but they were clearly watching everything. 2 days later, the aliens were invited to a human research center in a large white building. There were polite smiles, warm food, and a short tour. But inside, the humans were learning fast. They were copying the alien tech. They were testing materials, writing notes, building small versions. "They're studying us," Veshator said, "as if we're the experiment." That night, his team took a bold step. They secretly took 2 human scientists aboard their ship. Just to study their minds, Veshator told himself. No harm? He was wrong. The next morning, the ship shook. Red lights flashed. Systems went dark. "Power loss on deck 3, a Varelian shouted. "We've been boarded," came another voice. A human special operations team had entered the ship. They wore simple black suits, not fancy armor, but they moved quickly, silently, like ghosts. They disabled security systems. They freed the captured scientists. They left before the aliens could respond. By the time Veshator reached the holding chamber, the humans were gone. How did they do that? The Nalari technician gasped. That shouldn't be possible. Veshator stood still. His thoughts raced. This species, they are more than they seem. Back on Earth, Commander Elena Ruiz spoke to the global leaders of the United Nations Defense Council. The aliens underestimated us, she said. They thought we would be easy to study, easy to control. What do we do now? One leader asked. Do we prepare for war? Ruiz looked at the recovered alien tech. They didn't expect resistance. That gives us time. We need to prepare. Quietly. Quickly. Thus, the world began to unite. Old enemies shook hands. Borders opened for science. A new force was formed, the United Earth Defense Initiative, UEDI. Humans started learning alien science. They upgraded their satellites. They built energy shields and new weapons. The moon became a testing ground. Mars became a base. All this in just 3 months. Meanwhile, Veshator returned to the Concord Council. You said they were weak, he said, pointing at the others. You said they had no power. A member of the council, a tall, tree-like being, shook its branches. Surely they're no match for us. They have only one planet. Veshator leaned forward. That one planet made machines that touched every part of their world. They fly through the sky, dive into the sea, dig through the earth. Their people can survive deserts, mountains, snow, even space. You think that's weak? He paused. You don't know humans. The conquered still refused to believe him, but the seed of doubt was planted. Back on Earth, a group of students watched a news broadcast. It showed the alien ship. It showed the humans boarding it, saving the scientists. One boy looked up at his teacher. They came to study us. What if they come again? The teacher smiled. Then they'll learn something new. What's that? She looked out the window at the rising sun. That humans are deadlier than they think. The Galactic Conquered was still not worried. After the failed contact mission, most alien leaders thought it was just bad luck. One mistake does not mean danger, they said. Earth is just one small planet. Their people are still learning. Space travel. We are far ahead. But Veshator, the Varelian captain, knew better. He stood in the Conquered Hall, speaking to the High Council. They outsmarted us, he said. They boarded our ship, rescued their people, and left without being seen. In less than 48 hours, some council members laughed. You were careless, said a tall, winged alien. Don't blame the humans. Veshator's eyes glowed dimly. You are underestimating them. I watched how fast they learn. They copied our language in hours. They used our own tech to track us. And they are uniting their world. A Nalari. Scholar looked up from her data pad. Uniting? That is rare. Yes, said Veshator. Their nations are building a new defense force. They're calling it the United Earth Defense Initiative. Still, the Council chose not to act. But to show strength, they agreed to send a containment fleet, 10 warships to orbit Earth and remind the humans who ruled the stars. Do not fire, they ordered. Just observe and report. It was a mistake. Above Earth, the Concord fleet arrived. 10 massive ships, covered in armor and weapons, appeared in high orbit. Each ship could destroy a city in seconds. They sent a message to Earth. It was short. Stand down. You are now under Conquered observation. But Earth didn't stand down. Instead, the UEDI activated its Sky Shield grid, a new defense system, made using reverse-engineered alien tech. Satellites lit up, lasers hummed, invisible walls formed in low orbit. The Conquered ships tried to scan Earth. Nothing worked. Their signals were blocked. Their drones disappeared. Their systems began to glitch. Then came a strange sound. human music. It played on all conquered channels. A calm voice followed. You are guests in our sky. We will not attack first, but we will not stand down. The conquered fleet commander, Admiral Yelvarn, was confused. They jammed our scans. They speak through our comms. How? They learned, said one officer. Fast. On the ground, UEDI command was ready. Commander Elena Ruiz stood in front of a large screen. Behind her, generals and scientists worked. Together. They watched every move the aliens made. Do we strike? A young officer asked. Not yet, said Ruiz. Let them make the first move. The waiting began. But humans didn't just wait. They launched dozens of small drones, quiet, fast, invisible to most sensors. These drones flew close to the Concorde ships, scanning, mapping, learning, some attached to the ships, feeding data. Back to Earth. Inside one Concorde ship, lights blinked red. Something is on the hull, a soldier shouted. They couldn't find it. The drones were too small, too quiet, made of materials the Concorde couldn't detect. And the worst part, they didn't attack. They just watched. After 3 days, the Concorde grew angry. This is a game to them, Admiral Yelvarn said. They hide, they jam, they sneak. He ordered a show of power. One ship fired a warning shot into Earth's upper atmosphere. A bright line of light. No harm, just a warning. Seconds later, Earth responded. A targeted EMP blast hit the firing ship. Its systems went offline. Lights dimmed. Engines froze. The crew floated in silence. Then, a message from Earth. We said, do not fire. The other, 9 ships quickly backed away from Earth's orbit. The damaged ship was slowly towed away by the others. No one had died, but the message was clear. These humans were not afraid. Back at Concord Council, panic began to rise. They disabled a Concord warship without firing a weapon, said one member. They used energy we do not understand, said another. They never left their planet, said a third, yet they reach us. The council called an emergency meeting. Some demanded a full strike on Earth. Before it's too late, others urged caution. We pushed them first, let's talk. So they sent someone new, a respected Nalari diplomat named Scholar Viceroy Drenla. He was calm, wise, and curious. He had studied many young species before. He believed in peace, not power. Let me speak to them, he said. Let me learn who they are. Drenla arrived in orbit alone, in a silver ship with no weapons. He sent a polite message to UEDI. I come in peace. I wish to learn. To his surprise, they accepted. He landed in Geneva, Switzerland, where the UEDI had its main headquarters. The humans greeted him warmly but with care. Armed guards watched closely. Machines scanned his ship. Nothing was missed. Commander Elena Ruiz shook his hand. Welcome to Earth, he blinked. You know our customs? We studied, she smiled. We learn fast. Drenla was taken on a tour. He saw human cities, full of noise, color, and movement. He visited schools where children played war games, not to fight, but to think, to plan, to imagine. He went to museums showing Earth's long, violent history. Wars, revolutions, inventions, disasters, and survival. So much pain, he said, yet so much progress. He watched human engineers testing alien tech. They were not copying, they were improving it. He spoke to scientists, soldiers, artists, and teachers. Each one had a different view, but all had one thing in common. They never gave up. One night, Drenla sat with Ruiz, watching the stars. You fight with your mind, he said. We've had to, she replied. We don't have claws. We don't have armor. We made our own. He looked at her. You're not like others, most species. Takes centuries to build what you have. Ruiz nodded. We had no choice. Earth is hard. So we got harder. Drenla understood now. Humans didn't just grow strong. They grew strong because they were weak. Their planet tested them every day, with storms, heat, cold, hunger, and each other. They learned to think, to adapt, to imagine new ways to survive. That was their true weapon, not machines, not numbers, the human will. The next morning, Drenla sent a private message to the conquered council. Do not fight them. If you do, they will teach themselves how to beat you. But it might have already been too late. Some voices in the Concord had made up their minds, and Earth was not waiting anymore. The UEDI had started building its first deep space ship. Not to run, not to hide, but to explore, to warn, and if needed, to fight. The skies over Earth were calm again, but deep in space, the Galactic Concord was not at peace. Many alien leaders were shocked by Scholar Viceroy Drenla's report. He had told them the truth. Humans were dangerous, not because of power, but because of how fast they learned and how hard they fought when pushed. Some wanted peace, others still refused to believe it. They are just a new species, said a leader from the Geltrax Union. They may look clever, but we've seen this before. They're just emotional creatures from a single planet, said another. We are millions. We have thousands of fleets. What can they really do? But Admiral Trell Kor of the Zentari fleet disagreed. He studied the recordings from Earth. He saw how a single human EMP weapon had disabled a conquered ship. He saw how human satellites created invisible shields. He saw the way humans gathered knowledge quickly and quietly. They do not act like other young species, Trell Kor said. They do not wait. They do not fear. They plan. Still, the Concord chose not to attack. Not yet. Instead, they sent another fleet. A larger one. This time, not for a warning, for control. Earth's skies darkened as the second Concord fleet arrived. 20 ships now circled the planet, larger, stronger, and fully armed. UEDI headquarters in Geneva went on full alert. Lights flashed. Generals rushed into rooms. Scientists checked systems again and again. Commander Elena Ruiz stood tall before her officers. They want us to panic, she said. We won't. We've trained for this. By now, Earth had many new defenses. Orbital drones, plasma cannons, sensor-blocking fields. Human engineers had worked day and night. They had even built secret platforms on the Moon and Mars. This time, they were ready. But there was one more surprise. In low orbit, floating just above the blue oceans, a new human ship powered up its engines. It was the Aegis, the first human-made. Interstellar warship. Its hull was made from human steel mixed with alien alloys. Its engine was built using both Earth's best minds and stolen knowledge from Varelian ships. The Aegis was not big compared to conquered ships, but it was smart. It was fast, and it was quiet, like its creators. The Concord Fleet Commander, General Kertal, looked down at Earth. They are building warships already, he said. Yes, sir, replied one officer. And they have placed weapons on their moon and red planet. Kertal frowned. We gave them too much time. He sent a message to Earth. You will surrender your weapons and research. You will follow conquered rules. If not, we will act. Earth replied with a message of its own. We are not the ones who came to your sky. You are the ones who need to leave. General Kertal gave the order. Begin the strike. At first, the Concord ships fired at Earth's satellite grid. Beams of light flashed in space. Explosions shook the upper atmosphere. But something strange happened. As soon as a satellite was hit, another took its place. Hidden backups activated. Fake signals filled the sky. The aliens were confused. They have decoy systems, one shouted. Then came the counterattack. Human drones swarmed out from the dark side of the moon, tiny, fast, and full of energy spikes. They didn't explode. They just attached to conquered ships and started draining power. Something is eating our shields, yelled an officer. Then the Aegis moved. Like a shadow through space, it glided between two conquered ships, shot a pulse. of focused energy, and slipped away. One of the Concorde cruisers lost control and drifted into Earth's gravity field. It fell. The humans didn't fire first, but they fought back. Hard. On the ground, the people of Earth watched with wide eyes. In cities, crowds stood still, looking up. In bunkers, families waited. In command centers, Earth's leaders remained strong. "This is not just about Earth," Commander Ruiz said. "This is about respect. If we back down now, we stay weak forever. But if we hold the line, they will listen." The UEDI issued a message across the galaxy. "We do not wish for war, but we are not afraid of it." The message reached not just the Concorde, but other nearby civilizations too. Many of them had never stood up to the Concorde before. Now they watched closely. Could Earth really win? Back in space, the Aegis led a surprise move. Using a strange jump drive system, part alien, part human, it blinked out of sight and reappeared behind the Concorde formation. From that position, it disabled 2 ships with precision strikes. It used their own codes against them, their own weaknesses. Inside conquered ships, panic grew. "These creatures were not supposed to be this smart," said one commander. "They were not supposed to fight like this." But they did, because they had no choice. In the end, the conquered fleet pulled back. 5 ships were damaged. 2 were captured by Earth's forces. 1 was destroyed by its own confused systems after a drone attack. The rest escaped into deep space. Earth did not chase them, but they sent one last signal. "We are not your pets. We are not your test subjects. We are human, and we are watching." On the conquered homeworld, the Council sat in silence. They had never lost to a young species before. They had never been forced to retreat. Now, they had to decide. Should they attack with full strength? Should they crush Earth? Or should they talk? More and more voices began to rise in favor of peace. "If we go to war, they will become stronger," said Drenla, who had returned from Earth. "If we leave them alone, they will grow, but in peace. And if we try to rule them again, then we will teach them how to defeat us." The words echoed in the chamber. Back on Earth, repairs began. Satellites were replaced. The Aegis returned to base. Scientists celebrated. Families came out from bunkers and cheered. A message went out from the UEDI. "We do not celebrate victory. We celebrate survival, and we prepare for what comes next." In a quiet corner of Geneva, Commander Ruiz looked at the stars. She spoke to Drenla one last time before he left Earth. "You've seen how we fight," she said. "Do you still think we're dangerous?" Drenla smiled. "Yes, but I also think you are necessary." She raised an eyebrow. "Necessary?" He nodded. "The galaxy is full of peace, but not all peace is fair. Some peace is built on silence and fear. You bring something different." Ruiz didn't reply. She simply looked at the stars again. There was no more war today, but humanity had sent its message loud and clear. Earth was not a planet to control. It was a planet to respect. And somewhere, in the deep cold of space, the next chapter was already beginning. The battle was over, but the galaxy was still watching Earth. News of the human victory spread fast. From the icy moons of Kaltros to the golden cities of the Nilari, every species in the Galactic Concorde had heard the same thing. Humans fought back, and they won. Some didn't believe it. Others felt fear. A few felt respect, but one thing was now clear to all. Humans were not weak. In Geneva, the United Earth Defense Initiative, UEDI, was now the center of human power. Commander Elena Ruiz stood before a wide map of the solar system. Around her, officers and scientists worked day and night. "Status of the fleet?" she asked. "The Aegis is fully repaired," said a young officer. "Our second warship, the Vigilant, will be ready in 2 weeks." And Mars? Defense towers are online. The colony is secure. Ruiz nodded. Good. We keep growing. Quietly. Strongly. She knew that Earth had won a battle, not the war. The Concord was still powerful. If they attacked again, Earth might not be lucky a second time. That's why humans had to stay one step ahead. On Mars, deep underground, UEDI scientists were working on a secret. They called it Project Ghostfire, using pieces of damaged Concord. Ships, human engineers had discovered something unusual. An alien energy core that could bend space itself. It's not just power, said Dr. Lena Kim, the lead scientist. It's possibility. She believed the Ghostfire core could allow ships to jump instantly between planets, or even stars. But it's dangerous, her assistant warned. We still don't understand it. Lena smiled. That's what makes it exciting. Meanwhile, across the stars, Drenla the diplomat returned home to the Nilari homeworld. He stood before the Concord Council again. You saw them with your own eyes, one leader asked. What are they really? Drenla spoke calmly. They are creative, unpredictable. They do not wait for permission. They act, they learn, and they adapt faster than any species I have seen. Another council member asked, Are they cruel? No, Drenla said, but they are hard. Life on Earth made them that way. Should we fear them? He paused, then said, No, but we should respect them, or we will regret it. Back on Earth, a small team of humans prepared for something new, a journey outside the solar system. Captain Ryan Hale stood aboard the Aegis, now upgraded with Ghostfire tech. The new engine had not been tested. One mistake could destroy the ship. Ready? He asked his crew. They all nodded. They were not soldiers. They were explorers, scientists, and engineers. But they were brave. Then let's show them, Hale said. What humanity can do. The Aegis jumped. For 1 second, it disappeared. Then, it reappeared near a distant star system called Theta 91, just outside Concord space. The crew stared in silence. They had made the first human jump beyond Sol, and they had done it faster than any other species in history. In Theta 91, they found something shocking, an abandoned Concord station floating in silence. Its lights were off, its systems were cold, no signs of life. They entered carefully. Inside, they found something terrifying, not humans, not Concord, something else, long black marks on the walls, deep cuts in the metal, a strange green dust floating in the air. Whatever had destroyed the station, it was not known to the Concord. Captain Hale sent a full report back to Earth. We are not alone, he said, and we're not the only danger out here. Back in the Concord Hall, the message caused panic. What destroyed that station? One leader shouted. Not us, not the humans. Something worse. For the first time in centuries, the Concord felt real fear. They had grown used to control, used to comfort. But now, with the humans rising and an unknown threat appearing, everything was changing. Some members of the council said, Let us unite with Earth. Others still said, They cannot be trusted. But the smartest ones said, If we don't work with them, we may not survive what comes next. On Earth, Commander Ruiz met with her top advisors. She played the video from the Aegis again. Over and over. What is that green dust? She asked. No idea, said her science officer. But it's not natural. Could it reach us? Not if we're careful. Ruiz made her choice. Send a message to the Concord. Invite them. To Earth. It's time to talk. But what if they say no? Then they'll see what happens when we stand alone. A week later, a Concord delegation arrived on Earth. Not in warships, in peace. Scholar Viceroy Drenla was among them, along with scientists, translators, and guards. This time, there were no tricks, no hidden plans. They came with one question. What do we do next? Ruiz sat across from Drenla in a quiet room. No leaders, she said. Just people. He nodded. Agreed. They spoke for hours about fear, about survival, about what it meant to be human. Drenla asked, "Why do your people fight so hard?" Ruiz looked at a photo of Earth taken from space. "Because we come from a world that never gave us anything. For free. We had to fight to live, not just against others, but against the planet itself." She pointed at the photo. "Storms, quakes, fire, ice, hunger. We survived it all. We learned to adapt. And we never stopped." Drenla listened carefully. "You do not fight because you love war. You fight because you value life." Ruiz nodded. "Exactly." In the weeks that followed, something new began. A secret alliance. Not a full union, but a partnership. Earth would share some of its discoveries. The Concord would give access to peaceful knowledge. Together, they would begin to prepare for the unknown danger in Theta 91. It was not easy. There were arguments, fear, and mistakes, but it was a start, and it was the first time Earth had been treated as an equal in the galaxy. Far beyond Seoul, another ghost fire-powered ship, the Vigilant, entered deep space. On board was a message. "We come in peace, but we are ready for anything." The humans didn't seek war, but they would never run from it. They didn't ask for control, but they would never bow again. They were not just learning to survive, they were learning to lead. One conquered scientist, after visiting Earth, wrote in her journal, "Humans are not the strongest, the fastest, or the oldest. They don't have claws, fangs, or wings, but they have something we do not understand. When they fall, they rise. When they lose, they learn. When they are threatened, they become something else entirely, something terrifying, something beautiful. And if the stars ever go dark, I believe humans will still be there, holding the light." The stars above Earth now felt closer than ever before. Humanity had come a long way. From the first alien contact to building interstellar ships, they had grown faster than anyone expected. They had faced the Galactic Concord, stood their ground, and survived. But something even greater was now approaching, something unknown. At the United Earth Defense Initiative, UEDI, Command Center in Geneva, Commander Elena Ruiz stood in front of a large screen. On it, a red dot blinked near the edge. "Of the solar system." "What is it?" she asked. "Not conquered," said the science officer. "Too fast. Too quiet. We've never seen this kind of signal before." Another officer added, "It didn't come through any known jump gate. It's like it appeared." Ruiz's eyes narrowed. "Alert all systems. Get the Aegis and Vigilant ready." The unknown was here, and this time it might not just test humans. It might test everyone. In orbit, the Vigilant waited. Captain Ryan Hale stood on the bridge. His crew was tense. "We have visual," said the pilot. On the screen appeared a ship. Not human. Not conquered. It looked more like a piece of space itself, dark and sharp, moving without sound. "No signs of communication," said the engineer. "No response to signals, but it's watching us." Hale gave the order. "Hold position. Do not fire unless they do." They waited. Nothing happened, but then the ship vanished. Not with a flash, not with a jump. It simply disappeared. "Where did it go?" someone whispered. "Unknown," said the navigator. "It could be anywhere." Back on Earth, the Concord delegation had gathered with UEDI leaders. Scholar Viceroy Drenla sat beside Ruiz, both watching the data come in. "This is it," Drenla said quietly. "The thing that destroyed our station in Theta 91. Ruiz nodded. "Now it's in our system." "What do we do?" asked a Concord officer. Ruiz looked around the room. Everyone was waiting. She spoke clearly. "We make a choice. We either face this threat together, or we fall apart and let it destroy us one by one." There was silence. Then Drenla stood. "I choose unity." And slowly, One by one, the others did too. The first united fleet of Earth and the Concord was born. It had Concord warships, human-built interceptors, Nalari science cruisers, and even support drones from smaller species. They named it the Pact Fleet. It was not perfect. Some ships didn't understand each other's systems. Some species had never worked side by side before, but they all trained. They learned each other's languages, each other's tactics. Human engineers taught Concord officers how to adapt quickly. Concord commanders taught humans how to plan for the long term. Together, they became stronger. A signal came through. The unknown ship had returned, this time near Saturn. But it wasn't alone. 3 more had arrived. They did not send messages. They did not show faces. They only scanned the solar system and began moving toward Earth. The Pact Fleet met them halfway. Above Jupiter, Captain Hale, now leading the United Fleet, stood before his crew. "We don't know what they are," he said. "We don't know what they want. But we do know this. We are ready." The unknown ships moved fast, with strange movements. No weapons could be seen, but energy levels were rising. "Shields up," Hale ordered. Then, without warning, the alien ships attacked. Beams of dark light tore through space. One Concord cruiser was hit. It cracked in half before anyone could react. Human ships returned fire. So did the others. A battle like no one had seen began. At first, it looked like the Pact Fleet would lose. The alien ships moved like shadows, impossible to lock onto. Their weapons were strange, almost alive. Some Concord systems shut down just from scanning the enemy, but the humans adapted. They noticed the alien patterns. They changed attack paths. They turned off auto-targeting and used manual aim. Captain Hale ordered something bold. All human ships switched to fallback plan Alpha 3. "What's that?" asked a Concord officer on board. "It means," Hale said, "we do what humans do best. Improvise." The ship split apart, broke formation, and used random attacks. It confused the enemy. Human drones sacrificed themselves to protect larger ships. Nalari science ship used its energy core to trap one of the enemy ships in a magnetic field. The tide began to turn. On Earth, people watched live broadcasts. Some cried, some prayed, some just waited in silence. But they didn't run. They had already chosen long ago. They would face the stars standing up, not hiding. In the end, the Pact Fleet destroyed 2 enemy ships. One was captured. The last one vanished, just like before. The battle was not easy. Many lives were lost. Ships were damaged, but they had won. Together. Back in Geneva after the battle, the leaders of Earth and the Concord stood in the same room. A Concord general stepped forward. "Today, humans saved not just themselves, but all of us." Commander Ruiz replied, "We couldn't have done it alone." Drenla looked around and said, "Today, the galaxy changed." Weeks later, the captured alien ship was being studied in orbit above Mars. Human and alien scientists worked side by side. What they found shocked them all. The ship wasn't built, like others. It was grown. It was part machine, part living thing, and inside they found no pilot, no mind, just a cold, silent code, a message left behind. "We are the end. We do not speak. We do not stop. We do not feel." The scientists looked at each other. This was only the beginning. Earth knew the truth now. More threats would come. More dangers waited beyond the stars. But they were not alone anymore. The Conquered had changed. They no longer saw Earth as a wild world full of dangerous creatures. They saw it as something new, something strong, something necessary. Humanity returned to work. New ships were built. A new academy opened on the moon to train soldiers and explorers from many species, and for the first time in galactic history, Earth was given a seat on the Conquered High Council. Some protested, but most agreed. As one. Nilari Scholar said, "They were the last to arrive, but they are already leading. Not with fear, but with fire." One evening, Rui stood at the top of the Uedi Tower looking at the stars. Drendla stood beside her. "Do you ever miss the days before all this?" he asked. Ruiz smiled. "Sometimes, when the sky was quiet, when we thought we were alone." "And now?" "Now we know the truth," she said. He waited. She looked up. "The stars are not safe, but neither are we. We are not soft. We are not slow. We are not prey." She turned to him. "We are human, and we are ready."